There's a price you pay for everything. I know a lot of artists think that the dream is to quit their full-time job and be a freelancer or independent artist. However, the reality, at least for me, was that it's lonely. Yes, I get to wake up and have the freedom to do whatever I want. With that freedom comes a lot of responsibilities. You have deadlines you set yourself to meet for your commissions, conventions, or class materials that you have to put together if you're teaching. So technically, you don't exactly wake up with full freedom. You still have responsibilities to get to. I also want to add that my situation is quite unique in that I run a part-time business completely unrelated to art with my husband on the side, so I do have the privilege of not worrying about finances from my art income. I believe some would even think of this as an ideal situation, getting the time to make art without worrying about the money. So what could possibly go wrong in this ideal situation? I'll be sharing with you my insights and experiences since I've quit my full-time job March of 2023 this year, making it 8 months since recording this video. And lastly, I'll be sharing some advice for those of you who are thinking about quitting your full-time job, what to prepare for, what to expect, and how to keep yourself sane in the process. Of course, if you're an introvert and you absolutely love the isolation of just being in your space, most of the time, this video does not apply to you. This is for mostly artists who would like to share their artwork with other people and want to go beyond just sharing their artwork through the screen. It's really, really tough, the only interaction having it being behind a screen, especially with the way that Instagram is right now and social media. I know I'm fed up with Instagram, which is one of the reasons why I am shifting towards YouTube right now and seeing how that will go for me. We'll be talking about Instagram in a separate video because I would love to share with you how my experience has been on the platform since I created my current profile in 2020. That's for another video though, so let's get into it. So my mornings are just me in my pretty but empty home studio. Some days I get the creative juices flowing and I work. And some other days I just stare at the wall, depressed because I'm so alone in the morning. I missed saying good morning to my coworkers, even though some days I felt like I didn't want to. I missed having a consistent routine in the morning, like a solid get up and get back home time. As much as I despised it, it got me working and it got me going. Sometimes it's easy to say that you'll make a similar routine on your own, but what ends up happening is that you just find yourself sticking to it for a couple days and then it just doesn't go as planned because you're your own boss and you just tend to give yourself breaks more than your actual boss would let you. So social media really glamorized certain things, and like this image of the artist working in their beautiful studio without the interruption of the outside world, but truthfully, it's quite isolating. And sometimes we want to see other people's opinions on our work, whether they are artists or not. For me, having the opinions of other artists or even people who are not artists, having them look at my work and just reflect and give me feedback is the fuel, is my artist fuel. Likes, comments, whatever it is Instagram gives, it is so shallow, it is so fleeting, and it is anything but motivating. And I think that's something that really struck me when I decided to work from home, and most of my interactions throughout the year with my art has been behind the screen or through Instagram specifically, because that was my main platform for the past 3-4 years. And it has been really, really depressing. Having people look at your work, give you feedback, tell you what they like about the work, tell you what they want to see, tell you how excited they are about seeing your next work, and also having you look at their work. Oops, I hit the microphone. Also having you look at their work is something that is also inspiring. As much as we like to tell ourselves that we can be introverts and live in a room alone as long as we have internet and a drawing tablet and some food, it might work for some people, for sure, but I am not one of those people, and I'm pretty sure there are artists out there who have the same sentiment. Isolating and just being alone and having the only interaction being through the screen is really something that does not make them happy. It does not make me happy. Social media has changed so much in the last 6 years. Everything, or let's say since the rise of TikTok, let's just mark it as the rise of TikTok, everything is being shifted into these 15-second short-form vertical video content. And this has impacted artists on how they're sharing their work. And quite frankly, not everyone wants to be making reels, 15-second reels of them dancing about something related to their artwork. To put things into perspective, I was born in 1995. I am now 28 years old, and social media has come into my life when I was in 11th grade, so that's like a year before I graduated high school. And so my interactions with the internet prior to that was quite different, and I did have a childhood where smartphones were not involved. And so like just seeing how the internet has shifted into this like ridiculous, it's pretty ridiculous, like the way that we have ended up sharing our content into this like mindless 15-second reel, generally trying to appeal to a broad audience with that. Not just artists, because these algorithms on Instagram, on TikTok, and now I dare say I think YouTube is heading in that direction, but like long form videos are still alive and well there. These algorithms are pushing for the videos that have more likes, that are shared more, that have more comments. And man, that's really taxing. That's really taxing on the artist. And so when you become an artist who works from home and you are primarily working on your own work, and a big chunk of the interaction is through the internet, and seeing how the internet is right now with social media, it can be very daunting, very, very daunting. Okay, so I want to talk about being your own boss. That sounds fantastic. It sounds great. It actually is. It's not really quite bad being your own boss. You get to set the times where you think you are more productive, where you're more flexible. You are considerate of your own mental health, considerate of your own general health. That is definitely a pro. Now, a con to that is that you might get a little too flexible with yourself at times. Of course, all of us like to be disciplined, and but we slip sometimes because we are humans, and that has happened to me. I felt like, I don't feel like drawing today, but I knew that if I was going to an office, I would force myself to, even though it might not be an ideal situation, but I know that I'd be more productive. This is me. Now, I want to say that this is me. Some people, that situation of them going into an office and working might not be ideal at all. They might not be able to produce, to each their own. But for me, like having a place to go to, like putting on my clothes, going outside, getting into my car and going to the office, it puts me in a working state, like getting up and putting on clothes and just going to a place where I get to work, and then coming back at a set time. It gets me into a productive environment, because my brain is going like, okay, now I'm in a workspace. Even though I have a dedicated space in my home, like a home studio, even though it's a dedicated space, it still doesn't feel like a workspace most of the time. Yes, there are times where I get to work and I work well at home, or I get more productive when I go outside and I have like this full working routine. This is for me. Can you believe it when I say I miss my coworkers? I actually do. I know a lot of people, there's all these like videos and stories and memes about like hating your coworkers and wanting to get away from them and run away from them. And I really do acknowledge that there are some really toxic coworkers out there, and there are, some pretty toxic work environments. But where I used to work, I actually had some pretty nice coworkers. Yes, we might not be besties, but they were really nice, and I really miss them. And I miss the chats that we used to have together. I miss saying good morning to them. I miss showing them my artwork. It's something that I genuinely miss. When you work from home, there are no coworkers to say good morning to. You don't have coworkers to say good morning to, and that can make you feel a little bit alone. That can make you feel like, whoa, there's no one here, and everyone's off to work somewhere. That's something I definitely felt. Some people, like I said, and I will keep saying this, maybe this is an ideal situation for you. Maybe you don't want to say good morning to anyone, and you're just chill being completely alone. But for me, I really miss that. I really miss having these social relationships, even though they're not necessarily like best friend kind of relationships, but these really nice conversations with my coworkers, and there were a few times where I did meet with them outside of work, and yeah, I definitely miss them. Okay, so now I'm going to be talking about ways in which you can overcome this loneliness, this art block, this depression that you might get from working remotely at home or being an independent artist. I'm going to be talking about methods that I've personally used and currently and continuously use to stay sane and stay happy, get motivated to create and draw and paint all these lovely illustrations. Co-working space. Now, if you have access to a co-working space in your area and can afford it, please consider it. The reason why I didn't mention cafes is because a co-working space is usually more equipped to be that, a working space. Cafes, they don't exactly cater to laptops and equipment like that. Sometimes they do. If you do have a cafe in your area that has adequate tables, adequate seating, a quiet environment, some power plugs, go for it. Maybe that's good enough. Maybe you don't need a co-working space. But for me, having a dedicated co-working space made a world of difference. And I got to meet, a couple new people. I even met with some old friends that were with me in school. So yeah, please consider a co-working space if you are a remote or independent artist. Artist gatherings. So if you have artist gatherings or get-togethers in your area, do consider attending. It has made a world of difference for me as well. I love meeting other artists. I love looking at their work. I loved sharing my own work with them. I get inspired, they get inspired, and we all just talk about art. And it really brought back a lot of motivation for me. It helped me with my art block, seeing how artists are working there, and it's a really nice environment to be in if you have a local artist get-together. Definitely worth it, and do consider it. I would also like to add to that workshops or art classes in your area. If you do have them and can afford them, it is really nice to attend a class. You get to learn something new, and you can also make friends. Now this is my golden solution. It's like a 5-in-1 or like a 10-in-1 solution for me, and I absolutely love it. Art fairs and conventions. I absolutely love participating in conventions and art fairs. You get everything in one package. You get to network, you get to find clients, and you get to make friends. What do you need social media for? That's how good participating in conventions and art fairs are to me. It really made a universe of difference for me, participating in conventions. My first convention was in 2021, and I remember going in there with an absolutely defeated attitude because Instagram gave me this perception that because I don't have 3,000 likes on my illustrations, it means that my illustrations are just not worth it and they're not nice. And I was sorely proven wrong when I was there. I had illustrations that sold out, and I got to meet clients, I got to meet people, and sometimes there are people that you meet that contact you 6 months, 7 months, or even a year down the line saying that they want to work with you because they saw you at the show. And you get to make friends. You get to meet other artists, you get to see their work, they get to see your work. It is a win-win-win-win-win for me. It's the golden solution for me, being able to get out there, get to art fairs, get to convention. And it's a really great alternative to social media, truly. If you are tired of social media, if you're not so good at social media, please consider participating in these fairs and shows. It can make a world of difference for you. So yeah, I definitely recommend that. Alright guys, so this brings us to the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. If you like to hear or see more videos, please consider hitting the notifications and subscribe button. If you liked it, please hit the like button, and I hope to see you in the next one. See you guys, and have a lovely rest of your day.